Van Dyke Show.
Tomorrow night, CBS will...
Happening now.
City and health officials warn about the surge in coronavirus cases ahead of the 4th of July holiday. I'm Devin Clark. Coming up, I'll have that message and the latest numbers.
And as COVID-19 infections surge, we take you inside Methodist Hospital's special neonatal care unit and how they are treating mothers-to-be who are infected with coronavirus. Questions over increased numbers of COVID-19 and claims about how state and local health departments calculate new cases. We run those claims through the KSAT Trust Index. Plus, via moving forward with the sales tax vote, why the mayor disagrees.
The African dust is definitely overhead today. We have that extra haze in place. I'm going to talk about that and when it's going to finally disperse, along with your detailed weekend forecast coming right up.
The Spurs hold their first virtual press conference as they make final preparations to help restart the NBA season. Is the risk worth the reward? The News at 5 starts right now.
First at 5, Governor Greg Abbott reversing course on his executive order, now mandating mandatory mask wearing for all counties with more than 20 positive cases.
It is a major turn in this new guidance. The governor allowing fines for violators only after a first warning. Fines would start at $250 for a second offense and $250 per additional offenses. The governor says violators cannot be put in jail under any circumstance.
The governor has also given mayors and local judges the ability to impose restrictions on outdoor gatherings of more than 10 people, with a few exceptions. Those new orders coming down right before Mayor Ron Nirenberg and Judge Nelson Wolff and local hospital leaders came together to update us on current states of COVID-19 in Bexar County hospitals.
Our Devin Clark was at that news conference earlier this afternoon. And Devin, what was the message today?
Well, Tim and Ursula, city, county, and health officials announced that COVID-19 is spreading rapidly and that our local hospitals are nearing capacity. They say it's up to all of us, every single one of us as individuals, to help prevent our hospitals from becoming overwhelmed. Today, they announced another 374 cases of the coronavirus here in Bexar County and another 4 deaths. 1,074 patients are in the hospital right now, 332 of them in ICU, and 180 of them are on ventilators. 87% of hospital beds now occupied. Now, with the 4th of July weekend approaching, officials ask that you keep celebrations within households, preferably in front or backyards because of ventilation. If you are celebrating with family, you're asked to not have a big spread of food and certainly do not share utensils. Officials say that they really hope that this message reaches people in their 20s and 30s who don't seem to be listening and are contributing to the growing number of hospitalizations. Now, the lower numbers, the mayor reminding everyone to wear masks, wash hands, and stay home. He says not doing so is a recipe for infection, and adding that the most patriotic thing you can do this Independence Day is to heed the warning.
The current surge in the cases began almost exactly 14 days after the Memorial Day weekend. On Memorial Day in San Antonio, 79 COVID patients were in Bexar County hospitals. As we enter into another holiday weekend, now more than 1,000 COVID patients are hospitalized in our community. We cannot withstand a similar surge 2 weeks after the 4th of July. So this Independence Day, we are depending on you to help stop the spread of this deadly virus.
And to help discourage large gatherings, Bexar County Judge Nelson Wolff reminding the public that city and county parks will be closed Friday through Sunday. We're live outside of City Council chambers tonight. Devin Clark, KSAT 12 News.
Thank you, Devin. New at 5, VIA plans to move forward with a vote on a sales tax this November, despite not having the mayor's approval.
The eighth of a cent sales tax originally had Mayor Ron Nirenberg's approval to go toward mass transit. But then once the pandemic came along, the mayor suggested redirecting that tax. In a statement today, the mayor said, in part, quote, as we cope with another critical spike of COVID-19 cases, it further illustrates why our community needs to take a step back to reevaluate our priorities, end quote. He also referenced the more than 140,000 people who've applied for unemployment since mid-March as reason to why he believes the money could be used elsewhere.
VIA Board Chair Hope Andrade says, quote, the VIA Board would be negligent in its duty to sustain the system if we stood by and watched funding, which was originally made available for transit, diverted to other uses and did not appeal to the voters. The two sides say they are willing to reach an agreement on the issue ahead of the mid-August deadline for the board to call for an election.
Now, a unique glimpse inside San Antonio's COVID-19 emergency at Methodist Hospital. Cameras allowed inside where some of our region's most vulnerable are fighting to survive the latest surge. With the county's positivity rate in the last month soaring from about 3% all the way up to more than 20%, hospitals are having to make more room for the virus.
They don't fit the picture we initially were given of the average coronavirus patient. Increasingly, moms-to-be are showing up positive. So much so, now Methodist Hospital has dedicated a unit for NICU babies born to mothers who have it. And even that first cuddle with the baby is denied.
Unfortunately, no. We have to, as soon as the baby is born, they do bring him right to us outside of the door. So it's just a very brief moment that the mom might get a glimpse.
It's one of those COVID-19 puzzle pieces that we can't fit in neatly yet. In the womb, the virus isn't typically transmitted from mother to child, but during the birthing process, the risk of infection goes up, and treating a newborn with coronavirus is much more complicated. Although these babies have tested negative, they are treated as suspect positive. There are 5 babies in this special NICU unit, but room for 16, and doctors think they're going to need it.
I do. The way things are going, we're admitting pretty frequently, yes.
9683.
Christy LaBastida, only 36 years old, is expecting her 4th child. Both she and her fiancé have the coronavirus.
Mainly the thing that really hurt was my bones were just, I couldn't lay down. It was just hurting.
Advanced pregnancy is hard enough, but this is unexpectedly difficult. She says she hopes when she gives birth in about a month, her family will be COVID-free and they can all finally be together again.
I'm extremely stressed. I am a very strong woman. I tend to do a lot, and now that I can't and I need that help, it's taking a toll.
Methodist Hospital also may be seeing the beginnings of a sharp increase nationwide of moms with coronavirus giving birth.
Actually, some literature out there to support up to a 30% asymptomatic rate.
All of it's so very interesting. Coming up at 6, I'm going to show you how the other patients at Methodist Hospital's COVID unit are staying off ventilators for the most part, and some other potentially life-saving changes in how to survive the COVID surge. It's right now on KSAT TV app. We're going to have a complete behind-the-scenes look at the Methodist Hospital COVID unit. You can download the app on Roku, Amazon, Apple, and any other streaming device.
As the number of COVID-19 cases continues on an upward trend, some people have questioned how cases are counted by state and local health departments. Now, one claim that we have continued to see more frequently on social media in Texas counties, including Bexar County, are including entire households in that daily count, even when only one person is tested positive. Well, we ran this through our trust index and determined the claim is not true. According to Metro Health, total case counts include cases confirmed with the RT-PCR test and probable cases. A probable case is determined when a person meets 2 of 3 criteria: a positive quick result antigen test, experiencing COVID-19 symptoms, and or close contact with a person who tested positive. Another thing fueling speculation over inflated numbers is that the Centers for Disease Control acknowledged it mixed results from viral and antibody tests on its website. The CDC says this was the original method of case reporting when the website was first launched. They say at the time, viral tests, which test for current infection, were more commonly used than serology tests, which test for past infection. The CDC says it is currently working on separating those results by test type and will update the data on its website accordingly. And here in Texas, health officials do separate viral test results from antibody test results. We have a link to those on KSAT.com. Keep in mind that Bexar County antibody numbers are not included because county officials do not track them and are not required to report them.
Following months of job losses and record-breaking unemployment, the U.S. economy now has added 4.8 million jobs in June, dropping the unemployment rate to 11.1%. But that's not the whole picture.
As Nadia Romero explains, the coronavirus cases are climbing. States are once again closing down or limiting businesses that were starting to hire again. Even so, President Trump is touting the job numbers, hoping to spark some momentum for his 2020 re-election run.
Our economy is roaring back. It's coming back extremely strong.
Almost 5 million new jobs were added in June. Welcome news following a devastating spring that saw 20 million jobs cut in April alone.
This is the largest monthly jobs gain in the history of our country. This news comes on top of May's extraordinary jobs report.
But even after 2 months of growth and a drop from an unemployment rate of 14.7% in April to 11.1% in June, American workers are still facing a crisis. In the last 2 weeks, 19.3 million people filed for unemployment.
We were previously servicing about 200 people a week. At the moment, we're servicing almost 15,000 people.
2 industries hit the hardest by the coronavirus shutdown, such as hospitality. Restaurants are starting to come back as states reopened. However, many are once again having to put close signs up or scale back to carryout service as COVID-19 cases surge to record levels, and officials are pausing or rolling back their reopening plans.
This is about keeping you safe, about keeping them safe, your friends, neighbors, and family members.
President Trump on Thursday appeared to ignore the spike in cases across the country and instead focused on positively portraying his administration's handling of the crisis and the strong jobs data.
And fewer workers are dropping out of the labor force than before. And the crisis is being handled.
At the White House, I'm Nadia Romero.
1 week from today, the Spurs will be on their way to Orlando, Florida to help the NBA reopen the 2019-2020 season at Disney World. But today, the Silver and Black are back in their practice facility, holding their first virtual press conference since their return.
With more on that, let's check in with Greg Simmons.
It was good to see the two guys, even though it was on a screen, but it's been a while, right? Right now, the Spurs, as well as the rest of the league, are allowed only individual workouts with no 5-on-5 scrimmages until they arrive in Florida. And with LaMarcus Aldridge sidelined for the rest of the season following surgery on his right shoulder, DeMar DeRozan has been elevated to the team leader, even though he already leads the team in scoring with just over 22 points a game, shooting 53%. DeRozan has been very outspoken back home in Los Angeles during the Black Lives Matter protests, and combined with the increase in the COVID-19 cases, not just in Texas, but in Florida, DeRozan was asked today if he struggled with the NBA trying to play again.
For sure. I feel any player would tell you the same. It's definitely tough. This social injustice is a big thing, and it's frustrating when you see things that's happening now, what was happening 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, 40 years ago, seeing guys step up to try to make a difference at an all-time high. Then all of a sudden you throw basketball back out there and say, oh, now it's time to play. You definitely got people like myself and other players like, but what about this? We still got an opportunity to take care of this. And this is the real thing that's going on because this haven't stopped. So it's definitely been a challenge, and it's for sure going to continue to be a challenge for a lot of players.
Now, DeMar also has a lot more to risk than many other players since he can become a free agent this summer. DeRozan will talk about that coming up in sports.
Thank you, Greg. Independence Day right around the corner, but the deals have already gotten here. From a new grill to a new mattress. Up next, we're going to have a roundup of price cuts on items you may have already been thinking about replacing.
As we head into the holiday weekend, the 4th of July sales are certainly heating up. Retailers hit hard by the pandemic are discounting goods to entice you to buy.
12 on your side's Marilyn Moritz has some deals that are going to save you money.
Before the Star-Spangled Fireworks, retailers are popping deals. But are you getting the most bang for your buck?
There is some holiday hype to it. Not every deal is going to be a good deal.
So Consumer Reports deal guru Samantha Gordon searched the sales. First up for that backyard barbecue.
My favorite grill deal of the holiday weekend is the Monument Grill's gas grill.
This grill, normally $400 at Lowe's, is slashed by $70. Several retailers are discounting large appliances.
Retailers have realized that people need to replace these items, especially spending more time at home.
Like this LG fridge, Best Buy cut the price by $600. Need a mattress? She suggests this avocado green, now reduced by $200.
For tech, do we typically see or will we see especially good deals on, say, laptops or headphones or those kinds of things?
You're a little bit better off waiting more towards the holidays themselves and Black Friday to score those deals, but we are seeing some deals. So if you're in the market for a new laptop, the Microsoft Surface Pro 7 is $769 at Amazon right now. It usually costs about $100 more.
And these JBL Live wireless noise-canceling headphones, Amazon cut the price by $50. If vacation is looking outdoorsy, REI has discounted some camping gear and spring clothing. Old Navy's marked it down as much as 60%. And if you want to keep your distance, online deals mirror those in store. And there's always curbside pickup. Marilyn Moritz, KSAT 12 News.
All right, so we've got a lot to talk about here weather-wise. We've got the obvious dust in the air today, the newest drought monitor. We have some triple-digit heat and even our next chance of rain. Yeah, a lot to talk about. Let's get right to it. And I want to start with last week's drought monitor because I like to give you a little comparison here. So look at this, take it in, 3, 2, 1. This is this week's, and you notice we actually decreased the drought around Victoria. We wiped away some of that drought there. However, it is expanding farther to the west of town, especially near Del Rio, Rock Springs, Uvalde, down toward Eagle Pass. However, we did get some decent rainfall last night out there in Val Verde County and parts of the hill country. Some of those showers and storms from San Angelo snuck their way southward into the hill country last night. It was nice to see. And we had some development in Val Verde County, especially right along the Rio Grande. Radar estimates near Langtree of about 3.7 inches right there along Highway 90. You get up into Sutton County, basically along the I-10 corridor there near Sonora, about 2 inches estimated. Just west of Kerrville, 0.6 of an inch, and north of Lakey, almost an inch reported. Unfortunately, those showers didn't drift their way into San Antonio to give our aquifer a much needed drink of water. Right now, not much in terms of cloud cover, but we definitely have that thick haze. This is what it looks like out there right now with our live cam. It almost looks like you have an overcast sky. Well, that's not the case. There's not a cloud out there. This is all due to the haze, which has thickened up today. And the latest indications are now that this haze is going to stick around all the way through the weekend. Okay, so tomorrow, 1 o'clock, it'll still be noticeable. Then we get into Saturday, and it'll still be noticeable. Sunday, pretty much the same story. And that's contrary to what we were thinking yesterday when the guidance was indicating it would disperse it by about Saturday, Sunday timeframe. Well, now you can expect it to hang around at this same density all the way through the upcoming holiday weekend. Temperature-wise, 96 in Lubbock, 97 in Junction, 95 in Austin, 98 here in San Antonio. I believe our high temperature was 99. I say I believe because I have yet to get the updated Climo summary, which we will have at 6 p.m. when it normally comes out. Triple digits, though. Carrizo Springs, Cotulla, Laredo, all at 104 in Del Rio at an even century mark. One reason it's a little bit warmer today is because the dew points dropped down a little bit. We had the drier air aloft mixing downward, and so we're seeing some dew points in the 60s and even 50s. And this is going to be the case the next several afternoons for locations, generally speaking, along and west of I-35 and even 281, you could argue. All right, so let's talk about it. This evening, uneventful. I mean, we're still going to be in the 90s through sunset and then temperatures falling through the 80s thereafter. By tomorrow morning, on your Friday, 78 degrees with some clouds. Then just like today, that hazy sunshine most of the day and right up to 99 for the high temperature. Yes, obviously we could hit 100, but we think it's a lot more likely on the 4th of July to have our first 100-degree day and then maybe even exceeding it by a degree or two over the weekend. That hazy dust lingers through Sunday. Then our next chance of rain is going to be a slight one, and right now we're holding that off until Monday of next week. But don't hold your breath. Let's just put it that way.
I saw that little nudge on Sunday up to 101. Did not miss that.
It's that time of year.
Yeah.
All right, even as coronavirus cases continue to surge across the country, including Florida, the NBA still moving forward with a plan to restart.
Right. 1 week from today, the Spurs are due in Orlando, Florida. We talked to 2 Spurs today who, by the way, can be free agents this offseason. So the big question to them is the risk worth the reward for restarting the NBA season for them and more positive coronavirus tests coming back in the NBA. Coming up.
I think most of our guys, like at least the ones that I've talked to, man, what's up with the birthday boy? Thinks he's special today, huh?
Great to see the Spurs back at their practice facility, including Derek White, who celebrated his 26th birthday today in Big Board Sports. Spurs have returned to their practice facility to get ready for the NBA restart of the Wide World of Sports complex at Disney World in Orlando, Florida later this month. Right now, teams are limited to just individual workouts. Today, for the first time, though, since the Silver and Black returned to their workout facility, their first virtual press conference. First up today was DeMar DeRozan, who's risking more than a lot of players in his participation in the NBA restart. That's because he has opted out of his he can opt out of his contract this offseason that is scheduled to pay him almost $28 million next season to become a free agent. The Spurs' leading scorer was asked if he had any hesitancy about returning, given the fact this is an option year for him.
I never think about the next year. I don't put that in play. I think for me, it's all about, the times that we living in. So much going on with everything. I put that in play before I even think about my next year option to have the opportunity for us to go back and play. Trying to understand and figure out how that's going to work. Every day it's been a new learning experience and been a challenge. So, for me, I haven't even thought past tomorrow, honestly.
Jakob Poeltl has been in San Antonio the whole time during the hiatus. He says his knee that he injured before the league shut down is now 100%. He's ready to go. But during a recent article with his newspaper in his home country of Austria, Poeltl was shocked at how Texans were treating the COVID-19 pandemic so much lighter than back home, and was asked to deliver a message to San Antonians about that.
I would encourage people to be safer, to stay at home more. Like, even though it's hot outside and you might not enjoy sitting at home, we all gotta make a couple sacrifices for, like I said, the greater good.
Now, as the NBA begins to set up courts in Orlando for the restart, more positive coronavirus tests are being reported by the league and the NBA Players Association. An additional 9 out of 344 tests and NBA players have turned up positive in the last week, bringing the total number to 25 out of 351 players who have been tested since June 23rd. In addition, 10 staff members have tested positive for the coronavirus in just the last week. We're hoping those numbers will either get steady or go down, but right now they continue to increase.
To see what happens.
You got it.
Thanks, Greg.
We'll be right back.
Weather watchers right now, right near 100 at the Century Mark, Eagle Pass and Shirts, 99 in Floresville. Wind crest right now at 98 degrees. I think we'll be at the Century Mark through the weekend with hazy dust lingering through Sunday.
Thank you, Adam, and thank you for watching the News at 5 with us today.
World News is next. We'll see you back here for more local news at 6.